What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back again with another video. Sorry for the videos kind of all over the place. I've been a little bit all over the place, but hopefully you guys will stick around. If you're new here, like, subscribe, join the squad. I'd love to have you guys here. Lots of great stuff coming in this video. We're going to be talking about some news, some rumors, a little bit of some trade talk, and I want to turn it over to you guys. So in this video, make sure to leave some comments down below, sound off, because there's going to be a few things that we need to talk about here. But man, the Maple Leafs haven't really looked as good as we thought going into the beginning of this season. And of course, the season is still young, it's still early, but there's still some concern. And that's why there's been a little bit of talk and a few things that needs to happen or get better, or there could potentially be some trades that need to be done soon, because there's not a lot of chances left for some of the guys on this team, and specifically the head coach. But I want to get into a few news pieces here, because I feel like this kind of slipped beneath the radar here. The Maple Leafs signed Keiffer Bellow to a PTO, so a professional tryout. The Marlies signed him to that PTO. Sorry if I said the Maple Leafs, but a lot of people might know Keiffer Bellow because he was a first round draft pick. He was 19th overall in the 2016 draft, the same draft as Austin Matthews. He's still only 25 years old. Obviously, he's unsigned currently, so he doesn't have a contract. But he's actually a decent player that's shown some flashes of being a really, really good hockey player. Now, you can see in his junior career, he put up some sweet numbers, and that's why he was a first-round draft pick. But he hasn't really put all of it together for successful seasons, not just in the NHL, but fully going, all out in the AHL. As you can see, 19 points in 73 games. Now that was, his rookie season in the AHL. You see in the USA U20, he had over a point per game. But in the AHL still, 22 goals, 31 points in 52 games for a first-round draft pick. You would think that he would, be really, tearing it up in the AHL. And then with the Islanders and, with Philly and then Lee Valley, like again in the AHL, he put up some decent numbers last season, but it's never really fully come together for the guy. And sometimes with certain teams and the way that they develop players, it doesn't usually work out. And, unfortunately, as Leaf fans, we've seen with some players, they don't work out with the Maple Leafs, but then when they go somewhere else, they turn into a superstar, or at least a guy that is, going to put up numbers and do well for their team. Guys like Verhaeghe or a Marchment, guys like that put up numbers, and we bring those guys up quite often. But still, as a 25-year-old, there's still room to grow, and maybe the Marlies see something that could potentially get him to the next level, maybe as, a third, fourth line player in the NHL for the Maple Leafs on a cheaper contract eventually in the next couple of years. This is probably a good opportunity for him, because the Marlies are, pretty decent. They've got some good players down there, and maybe it's also some backup insurance. If the Maple Leafs are to call up a guy like Nick Robertson, they can replace Robertson with a guy like Keiffer Bellow, a guy that, has some potential still, even at 25 years old, still a younger guy that can give you some decent numbers in the AHL, playing top six, probably first line minutes, especially if Robertson ends up getting called up. So I like the move for the Marlies. Again, a lot of people don't like talking about PTOs, but we're a Leaf channel here. We talk about everything to do with the Leafs and the Marlies. I figured that was something that you guys would be interested in. Now, I'm going to show this guy on the screen right now, and a lot of people are probably going to have some opinions, and good and bad, which I found pretty crazy. Frasier Minon, right? So he made the team out of camp, and that's something that we brought up when we talked about the Maple Leaf season preview. And as a 19-year-old, he shocked a lot of people, because we knew that Matthew Knies was going to probably play on this team. He looked very, very good last season, and he started off this season looking pretty decent. But Frasier Minon in the preseason looked really good, especially playing with Matthew Knies. He was looking like he was going to be able to play with a bunch of different people. There was potential for him to continue to grow with this team over the season if he impressed in the 9 games. But he didn't get to 9 games. He got to 4. He didn't put up any points. He had 2 penalty minutes. But I don't want to say he looked bad, because I don't think he did. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I think some people were disappointed when he didn't play as good as he did in the preseason, and that it didn't correlate to the NHL level in terms of the regular season. This kid's going to go and tear it up again in the WHL, because if you look at his numbers, if we pull this up here, he's just grown every year as a player, and this is coming from a pretty young age that he's doing this. So 18 points in 20 games in his first season in the WHL. Then he jumped all the way to 55 and 67. Then last season, 67 points in 57 games, including over 30 goals, right? And he was a plus. He's been a plus his whole career. But this is a guy, he's going to play like 60 plus games. He's going to tear it up in the WHL. And then the Maple Leafs are going to make a decision based off of where he plays next year. He's going to play pro hockey, and he's going to compete for a spot again. If he was getting 4 games now, the Leafs will give him a chance to play some more games next season, especially if he impresses in camp. And if him and Nice continue to build some sort of chemistry together, there's no reason why these guys can't play together on a full-time basis going into next season. But again, he's still only 19. Maybe he doesn't get his full-time shot in the NHL till he's like 21, but he is a very, very exciting player, and I'm really excited to see where he goes, because he just impressed, and I wanted to bring him up because I know a lot of people wanted me to say some things about what I thought about Frasier Minon. People thought it was too early, and then of course there was also some people that were upset that he didn't play as well, and I think that that's unfair for a 19-year-old. But some unfortunate news still. Connor Timmons a ways away from playing as the Maple Leafs defenseman continues recovery from lower body injury. Now, this is, again, another guy that was tearing it up in the preseason. He looked really good. I feel really bad for him because Connor Timmons, like I said, was very impressive. That first few preseason games where he was just leading the preseason in points, I was like, damn, I think Timmons is going to be at least, a good serviceable point producer from the back end, second power play unit, potentially getting some looks there, playing alongside guys on the third and fourth line most of the time, and being able to get those easier matchups, playing with maybe a Mark Giordano, maybe getting some time with Liljegren, maybe even moving up with McCabe a little bit if Klingberg wasn't playing good enough, or if Brody or somebody else wasn't playing good enough. But it kind of ties into why I was talking about a potential trade, because the Leafs themselves and their blue line haven't looked very good. And if we're looking at the full team, obviously cap space is limited. And again, I'm not saying these are the lines. They've been switching them up like crazy, and you can see they've called up Legason, and they've got a bit of a blender going on here. But Klingberg hasn't looked very good. That's to say the least. McCabe is injured right now. Giordano is aging. He hasn't looked too bad though. Legason's going back to the minors, whatever. And then of course, like I just mentioned there, you're not going to see Connor Timmons for a little while. So with the way that they've started and the lack of cap space, it's a little bit concerning. And I'm not saying the Leafs are a bad team. It's just they're kind of middle of the pack right now. And Max Domi hasn't performed, right? $3 million, a guy that a lot of people are excited about, hasn't performed. Tyler Bertuzzi, not getting a lot of minutes, seeing the bench a little bit here, getting paid $5.5 million, right? He hasn't performed. And these guys need to perform. They're on one-year deals. Whether or not they want to stay in Toronto, I know it's early, and I know they've got to find their spot. They've got to click with certain guys, but it's not working, and they've got to figure it out fast. These points are going to slip away from them really quickly because there's a lot of teams that are really good right now and that are getting better, and they're not putting up the numbers that they should be. And this team as a whole might need a bit of a change. And this is why I stress so much, I believe it was in the last video, about a guy like Nick Robertson. You can't move away from him yet because the Leafs might need him, and they might need him very soon. So maybe a guy like Yarncrook, unfortunately, becomes expendable because they need to acquire a defenseman. Maybe they have to trade away a pick. Maybe they have to bury a contract in the minors. There's a lot of different things that this Leafs team is going to have to figure out very soon because their GM is gone, right? The former GM, Kyle Dubas, right? The next scapegoat would have to be Sheldon Keefe, right? Or do they go after that core four? They've been performing. Mitch Marner hasn't had the greatest start to his season, but he's quietly putting up a few points here and there, right? So he's going to break out. We know he's going to, right? But what if he doesn't? So there's a lot of questions here. And why I'm flipping it to you is because I want you guys to comment down below. Is it too early to ask for a trade? Is it too early for them to have to make a move? Let me know down below. Again, more videos definitely coming. I've got lots of stuff I want to do. I've just been super busy. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you are new here, make sure to like and subscribe. Join the squad. Let me know down below in the comments. Sound off. Peace.